As a mental health advocate and author, I love books. Books have the capacity to inspire, educate, transform, and ultimately help readers all over the world. So if you want to publish your book or if you need help writing your story, I highly recommend Mindstir Media, rated the #1 best book publisher around the country. Mindstir Media can help you no matter where you are in the book writing or publishing process. Go to mindstirmedia.com to learn more and schedule a consultation.
Out Comes the Sun with Mariel Hemingway and Melissa Yamaguchi. Out Comes the Sun compassionately helps you navigate mental wellness practices that you can apply to your daily life. And we tell your story. And now, Mariel Hemingway and Melissa Yamaguchi.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Out Comes the Sun Radio with my wonderful co-host, Melissa Yamaguchi. I'm Mariel Hemingway. And today is a good day. The sun is shining, which, you know how much I love that.
We love the sun.
Yes, we do. Here comes the sun. Do, 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 do. Also, we have a wonderful guest today, really good friend of mine who you also know, Melissa, a comedian, Eddie Ifft. That's going to be fun. And also, we wanted to talk about, I want to talk about virtue signaling. And the reason why I want to start as to why this came up. So I was looking through Instagram, as one does sometimes. And as our friend Eddie said, I was in Instagram University and I was graduating. I was looking at something, making me so much smarter in life. But anyway, somebody sent me a story of a girl in a particular part of LA that I'm not going to name because I don't want to point fingers anywhere, but it was just about this girl talking about like, oh my gosh, my life is, so challenging. I'm so stressed out. I have to buy special food. I have to pick up the kids. Well, I don't really pick up the kids, but I'm still so stressed out. Billy picks up the kids. That's somebody who works for them. Anyway, it was very funny. And it was all about, I meditate here and I shop here and I'm, my life is so overwhelming. Right. And it was this kind of virtue signaling. And then another friend who lives in this particular area said, yeah, I was talking to some mothers at the school that my girls go to, and they were talking about their different things that they do. And I have a nighttime meditation and daytime meditation. Before I go to bed, I try to, do this whole thing about, and please understand that when I'm talking about this, I'm not judging that because I'm a big believer in lifestyle and how you think and before you go to bed and all of that. But it was funny. And she said to her friend, she said, yeah, I watch crime shows. I watch murder and crime shows before I go to bed. And I stopped when she told me this story because I have to admit something. I watch a ton of crime shows, like detective crime shows, especially British. I love them. And I don't know what it is. And then she was saying that she thinks it's because like Billy, your husband, Melissa, and my significant other, Bobby, would never be in a position to worry about what somebody's going to do to them. But I think as women, we are always kind of a little bit aware that at any time something could happen to us, right? Because we're women, we're less strong. And I don't mean, like for anybody out there, don't get mad at me. I know that I'm less strong than a lot of males out there. It's just I'm not going to be that strong.
Well, guys don't have to think about it if they're alone on an elevator and another guy gets on, but a woman does. Right.
Yeah. And you're just aware. So she was saying that she watches that because you want to know how to deal with, want to have the information.
That's right.
Deal with
I
it.
watch crime shows too, Marilyn. What I learned that I can do with a pen and a paper clip. That's all I need. I can get myself out of just about 45. I become like Melissa MacGyver. I can get myself out of
Yes.
a lot of stuff.
It started with MacGyver, right? It started
Right.
then. But I remember as a kid, I used to watch with my mother, and my mother loved to watch those shows. She loved Mission Impossible, and
Oh
she
yeah.
loved, all these like murder
The
mysteries.
Mod Squad,
Yeah.
Dragnet, all that stuff. Yeah. Yes, absolutely.
So anyway, but I mean, virtue signaling is a whole different thing. Let's talk a little bit
Yeah,
about.
yeah. I was telling you that I'd recently read about a show that was on a channel where there was an agreement for the couple that had been hired to provide content for a show, for a platform. And it's been recently revealed that the interviewer was not actually the one doing the work, and that he or she would hire somebody to interview the guest, and then she would do he or she would do the voiceover. And so the actual work was not being the I mean, it is work, your voiceover, but the actual work of going and doing the hard work of interviewing face to face and getting maybe the hard questions and dealing with the emotional answers was done by somebody else.
Somebody
So
else.
the whole you and I were talking about this on the phone, and the whole conversation after you talked about virtue signaling and what you had learned about this, the whole thing that we realized is that it's this total disconnect from reality, from what's
Yeah.
happening around you, and how you don't see how you come across, and you're not aware of other people's reactions or their reality. You're so disconnected.
But let me tell you something that I know from my life. So being an actress, you're on a set, and oftentimes you're with a celebrity, very big celebrity, and I've worked with some over in the past. And sometimes they will have attitudes, and sometimes they will do all of their work, right? They'll shoot film their side of the conversation, say, and then they'll go home, and you're left to do the dialogue with the script
Without
supervisor.
them there.
Yeah. Sometimes it doesn't happen very often, but some actors are just whatever, and they will do that, which is incredibly disrespectful. It's disrespectful, and it also doesn't lend itself for any organic anything, because if you're dealing with somebody who's not an actor, who's throwing lines at you, you're really in an audition situation where you're just really it's like talking to a wall and not getting response. And acting is all about give and take. It's like it's communication. It's one-on-one. You seeing their eyes, you're feeling their energy, and they do it one way and then they do it another way. So it is just a disrespectful. I think it's just bad manners, frankly.
Well, it sounds like War of the Roses in acting.
Yes.
We're not really addressing each other with respect, and that's that concept of virtue signaling, of not being aware. I don't want to bash the phone, because you and I both talk about our phones. We're on it. We discover things about it, but I think it's from texting and even voicemail, sending somebody or FaceTiming them a message, sending them a video message, and not having to deal with their reactions. So
Yeah.
you are totally disconnected from other people's reality.
It's just not, I don't know. It just, Bobby talks about it, that the original instant match is face to face. Anyway, that I love this conversation because I think everybody's dealing with it right now in our world. So
Yep.
Stay with us, everybody, because we're coming back and we got a very lovely guest, my friend Eddie Ifft. Hello, everybody. You are listening to Out Comes the Sun radio show, and we have our amazing guest, who's actually a very, very, very close friend of mine and Bobby Williams. And you've heard Bobby Williams talk on this before, so he can talk, and he can talk about fitness. And our next guest can talk about fitness, and he is one of the funniest people that I know in the world. I'm also godmother to his children. I think it's not official, but we just claimed that we were the godparents, so they couldn't do with us anymore. And now that they have terrorists as children, especially their young son, they basically are begging us to be godparents. But Eddie Ifft is an incredible comedian, truly one of the funniest guys. He's considered one of the most underrated comics in America by The Onion. He has spread laughter and very distinct brand of humor across America, and actually Australia is super popular in Australia and other countries around the world. He is the host of one of the most successful podcasts in the comedy world called Talkin Sh't. And he also does a Wadcast podcast, which my significant other Bobby Williams has been on many, many times. And it's one of the top podcasts for health and fitness. So, and just to give you some texture and some like information about our relationship with Eddie knows so much about wellness and working out and all that stuff that basically when we figure out something new, we ask Eddie about it, and he's done the research to actually figure out if it's good or if it's bad. And usually a lot of times, or not usually, but many times he will call us crazy. Welcome to our show, Eddie Ifft. Anyway.
Thanks. And I don't call you guys crazy. Bobby usually knows about things way before I do. He's an early adopter of everything.
He knows about everything before everybody. Excuse me.
He's so ahead of his time. And then I'll say he's batshit crazy. And then 10 years later, I'll read a clinical study and be like, oh my God, he was right. Like, I'll never forget when he told me about grounding and walking barefoot. And I was like, no. Lightning does not come up through your feet into your body and then lowering your inflammation. And then I read about it and I was like, got me again. He's like a savant in some weird ways.
On the show. And basically I'll introduce him and Melissa will ask a question and we'll sit there together. And I usually just have to pull to the side because he's like, he's just telling you how it is. Yeah, it's a little crazy. Here's what I wanted to talk to you today about, because when we were at your house, and Melissa and I talk about this a lot, just like kids in general and how they have to deal with technology and the whole world is like upside down. I mean, it's great that we have technology and we can connect, but there's also this detriment to our young people. And you've got two of my favorite young people in the world. I was making fun of them, but I actually love them so dearly. And we were there a couple of Sundays ago, as you know, and your kids are amazing. They're so active and they're, running around, and you got a dog that's so active. And I thought our dogs were active, and you've got this dog that's leaping in the air and getting, frisbees. And the kids are super, they're athletic, and they're also eating really good food and all of this stuff. And you turned to me and you go, no other kids are doing this. And I was like, what do you mean no other kids are doing this? I'm like, what does that mean? You like, they're all at home right now looking at a screen. And he said, and I won't allow it. And we just don't allow that. And I was like, what? So I just feel that is such a enormous issue. And I think, yeah, it's great that your kid is extraordinary on your computer, but what is that doing for his brain, his health? And, we talk about mental health here. Just talk to me about what you know about that and how you see it affecting your kids.
Well, our good friend Kenny Kane, our mutual friend years ago, started posting about, he's a fitness trainer, and he said, my job is to make people healthy. And one of the things I've realized is social media is making people unhealthy. So he's like, I'm going to try to teach people to wean off of that, because it's just like eating fast food or eating unhealthy food. Shouldn't do a lot of it. It's like, so I got to get my clients off of the screens and off of the TV. look, it's impossible. We live in a world where it exists and you can't get away from it. I allow my kids like about an hour a day. It's usually in the morning or right after when they come home from school, because apparently there was some research done saying that's the best time for them to kind of unwind. What I read a lot of stuff. Sanjay Gupta's done a whole series on CNN about children and screens, and because the research is all new. I saw a great photo the other day somewhere on social media, and it said, we're criticizing ourselves for how much we're on our screens, but it just showed a row of people all sitting looking at their phones. But then it showed a picture from like the 1930s, and everybody was sitting there with their newspaper. And we have active brains, and I love the phone. I love it because of the information that I get. Oh yeah. And I tell my new jokes, all I'm talking about is how people go, how do you know that? And I'm like, Instagram University. Like, I did a few years at Instagram University, and then I did my master's degree at TikTok University. I didn't learn anything in college, but I now know how to put a duvet cover on, like, really quickly, thanks to Instagram. So there is a lot. You just have to figure out who has the right information, and because everybody's full of shit and there's so much misinformation. So who do you listen to? And as soon as you see a video, go down to the comments, because there'll be people criticizing them and saying, no, this isn't right. This is blah, blah, blah. And then you're able to use analytical thought and go, this seems to, but too many people are like, I heard it. It's going to be right. And so I don't want my kids to be, weirdos. I don't want it to be Amish kids, like out in the back churning butter. But at the same time, there's some like scientific evidence about like how much their brain has to develop and do this and be outside. We all know, like, you've preached this forever, Mariel, but the sun, they need to be in the sun. They need to be out in fresh air. They need to be climbing and hiking. And, people probably think it's abusive. I made Cruz climb Saddle Peak 2 days ago. 3.5 years old, and he climbed a 5-mile hike up 2,000 feet of elevation. And it was hard for him. But at the end, he wanted to play. And he was like back here running around. And I was like, look, he now knows he can do that. And I kept him out of the house for 4 hours. So.
Exactly. And he's tired at night. I mean, I remember, and so you probably remember this, when your kids are small, all you want to do is exhaust them. Exhaust them. Bed, right? You just want them exhausted.
I've had a whole bunch of Navy SEALs on my podcast, because a lot of them are into CrossFit, which is what I do, and friends of mine that I work out with. And I've always asked them, because it's such a tough process to make it through BUD/S training. It takes mental toughness, takes physical toughness, emotional, everything. And I've asked them all what it is about them, and almost all of them, I get the same story. And it's either, most of them grew up on a farm, and their parents were like, when the sun comes up, you're out of the house. And when the sun comes down, you can come back in the house. And you're gonna be working and playing the rest of the day. Yeah. And get out there, get out there, get out there. And these guys go on to go to Harvard, and they're successful in everything in life and college after they get out of the Navy. And I mean, they're just high achievers. Yeah. And they learn the value of hard work and being outside. And I don't want to be poo-poo on the young generations, but we got some softies.
It's true, but you're right. And it is about that balance. Melissa, you and I were brought up. We were brought up with, go out at sun, see ya all summer long. You're out, you're probably barefoot a good portion of that. You're riding your bike, and you come in when you're hungry, when the sun is starting to set. And that's just the way it is. It's not like a thing. It's not like something you tried. It's just the way it is. So yeah, I mean, and it just, you don't want to poo-poo this new generation, but there is there's a weird sense of entitlement, and that's not with the little kids. That's like this, I don't even know what generation you call them, but there's this, like, the work ethic is different than it used to be. Like, it's hard to get people to commit to working. I mean, Melissa has two kids. They're not kids anymore. They're young adults, and they're awesome. Like, they're so responsible and so good. And they don't really represent their generation, because a lot of the other, and I'm generalizing, as you know, because you've run across some great young people that are like doing amazing things, but there is this sort of sense that I don't have to do that because whatever. And I don't think that we were brought up that way. I don't know what the answer is. I don't know.
I think there's some amazing things about them. I mean, they're super intelligent. I feel like these generations are so far, so much smarter and so much wiser than we are at a young age, because information is coming to them so much quicker. But I do feel everything we create is to make life more comfortable. So things get easier and easier and easier for them, but then they don't have a tolerance to, the difficult things that come down the line, and it's much more of a shock to them. And I've seen that with the young people I know, where they're like, oh my God, and they fold, they collapse, they don't know what to do. I read Pat Tillman's book. You guys know Pat, Melissa, you know.
Yeah.
The book's amazing. I think it's, did Sebastian Younger write that book? I think he did.
I don't remember. I think so, but I don't remember.
I think so. The guy who wrote Perfect Storm, he wrote it, and it was all about the NFL football player that decided to go fight in Afghanistan.
Yes.
After 9/11.
Right.
And he died in a friendly fire accident situation. At the end of the book, there's like a prologue or whatever that's written, where the guy talks about how the time he spent with the Afghani people, they've spent their whole life in war, their whole life, from the Soviet war to the United States, to United States occupation, to what's going on. And he said, they're warriors, and they laugh at us. They laugh at us because we're getting softer and softer and softer. And I don't like war. I don't, like the military, anything like that. But I do know this, that, at a certain point, I've been around a couple natural disasters, and when the shit goes down, you better be tough. You better be able to hold your own and take care of the situation, because if you think the government's coming to help you, and I'm not like an anti-government guy. No. They're not. We were here when Mariel, you were here when the fires happened. Yep. Nobody comes to save you. Nope. Nobody comes to help you. Yep. We have a phrase here in Malibu. It's yo-yo, you're on your own. And you are on your own, and you better pack up and get your family. And if you've got to take care of your house, if you might need to hose down this or get pets and family, whatever, cross bridges, get around telephone poles that are burning, you better be prepared and be able to get food and be stuck in isolation. If you're, we have creeks that wash out, bridges, and I've seen people fold, and I've seen people just panic and freak out, and it's not a good thing. And it's like these generations are just a bunch of pussies.
Well, I have a question for you, because you were talking before we came on air, we were in the sound check, you were talking about, you were drinking a drink and talking about this healthier milk alternative. And so a lot of creating strength in people does have to do with their diet. So when our kids are going into schools, forget what they're unless mom and dad are packing them a lunch, what they're eating at home. When they're getting into schools, it's a whole different way of training and learning. And so if the school's giving it to them, and mom and dad are telling them the teachers should be listened to, why shouldn't the cafeteria lady be listened to? And if they go eat in the cafeteria, your kids are younger than mine. Mine are in their 20s. But the food that they would have at the school, I'd always think, oh, don't eat that. Don't eat that. That's not going to be good for you. You're going to fall asleep after lunch, or you're going to be cranky when I pick you up. Don't eat that. Then they were like, but Joey was eating the chocolate pudding. How come I can't eat the chocolate? So that what was being offered to them, I would try to talk to the schools and what are you guys feeding these kids?
You can't talk to the school, though. I've tried that too.
Because they're like, we got a budget.
There's such a bureaucracy of, you go to the principal's like, no, you got to go to the superintendent. The superintendent's like, you got to go to the school board. The school board's like, you got to go to the state. State's like, well, Michelle Obama. And I mean, literally, that's that's the road I went down when I started trying to figure this out, because my kids go to public school and I believe in the public schools. But Michelle Obama, and I don't want to criticize her because I'm a big fan of the Obamas, she wanted to make it that there was food for every child, which I agree with too. Yeah. in order to do that, they have to get cheap food.
Yeah.
And they've got to have cheap food for everyone. And so there's cheap food to make it, that every single kid can go to school and have a lunch. And, because we have poverty. So it's a much bigger issue.
Yeah.
It always
Wealth issue that all the wealth is in one place and and we can't,
Right.
and it's also part of that conversation. It's like, if you're not wealthy, you don't get to be healthy. You don't have to have you don't get to have a good education or whatever. It's like, unless you are privileged, can't pay for good food. So
I think the onus, what I'm hoping to drive with this message really is the onus falls back on mom and dad. To your point, nobody's coming in to rescue you or your kids. So you've got to take it upon yourself and put a plum in your kid's backpack, or do something. Like, you've got to take proactive steps, pick them up from school with a healthy snack. It's not going to be given to them by anybody else. And so part of that strength, creating that core background of a kid with a good, strong spine, is getting the sunshine, getting them out to eat, getting them fed well, sleeping good, and putting food in their bellies that's going to feed that brain.
That's what we do. And we're not crazy with our kids. We let our kids have treats and stuff because I don't want them having some kind of eating disorder or sneaking over to friend's house to eat. So we even tell them, hey, we know that this happens, or Friday's pizza day. If you want to have pizza, you can have pizza with, or if, don't eat that, or don't eat, that's terrible. Don't have that. But please, do what we ask. We give you enough good stuff that you don't have to go and eat this crap. However, there's not a lot of people that have the education. We're fortunate enough, the three of us, to have this education, that a lot of people don't have this education. So then it does become our problem, because these people don't have the education. They eat like this, they become obese, then they have healthcare issues, and then we end up paying for it in our healthcare. Like, our insurance goes up because we've got to pay for all the people with diabetes out there. And it's a serious problem, and it is because the lack of education.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And it's so true. And it's not just the underprivileged or less wealthy people. I mean, there are people all over this country who are well off that are uneducated about how to eat. Like, it's so surprising. I mean, I know this because you go around and do comedy shows all around America, and I'm sure that you get in the middle, and in those middle states, everybody's super nice and wonderful, but try to find a grass-fed steak, try to find some food that is not.
That's why we did that McDonald's project that I did.
Oh yeah, tell us about that McDonald's project, because that was actually really kind of cool.
What we were trying to prove is, because I'm constantly on the road, and it's best practices, which Dylan Farr, who Mariel, you know very well. Yeah. We always talk about. Dylan's a really smart nutritionist and trainer, and he's a lot of times you don't have the food that I can't go, and there's not a grass-fed burger, and there's not. So what's the next best thing? Do I eat pasta, or do I eat a McDonald's hamburger without the bread on it? And what is
sauce, no sugar sauce.
Right. So we kind of had this theory, and we worked out with Mike Anderson, who was worked in the physiology department at Pepperdine and owns CrossFit Malibu, that we did Supersize Me, basically, but best practices. I went to McDonald's and ate every single meal. Every single thing I ate for 1 month was from McDonald's. And I don't advocate eating McDonald's. However, our thing was, how healthy can I eat McDonald's? And this was during the pandemic. They had cut out the salads at McDonald's.
Oh no.
They took the skin off the apples, which is the only good part of the apple. And when I agreed to do it, I didn't know that happened. The first time I went to McDonald's, I was like, holy shit, there's nothing here. I looked at the smoothie. I drank the strawberry banana smoothie. We came home. We were like, oh my God, you just had like 70 grams of sugar. And, so we kept freaking out, and it ended up being like almost like a carnivore diet, where I would eat in the morning 2 sausage McMuffins with cheese and egg, without sausage, cheese, and egg, without the bread.
Without the muffin.
So I would just eat the sausage, the egg, and the cheese. And then for lunch, and then I would have some chicken nuggets, because they had no grilled chicken. So I would have chicken nuggets for a snack. And then at lunch, I would eat probably like 3 quarter-pounder patties with cheese, and then nuggets again, and then sort of the same dinner, maybe fillet of fish sometimes, but no bread, no sauce. And it sounds disgusting. I lost 11 pounds. I gained 3 pounds of muscle. I lost 5 pounds of fat. My inflammation went down. My C-reactive protein went down. My H1 or my HB1AC, which is your blood glucose level, went down. And my cholesterol levels all maintained.
What?
How insane is
What?
that?
I would have, if you would have asked me to predict the outcome, I would have given you the total opposite of what you just said.
Yep.
No
Well,
way I would have known that.
It's
But
an,
it shows
it's an,
that you can make, and that's what's kind of cool about Dylan, because he does give you those options. Like he has clients that are like not going to go to Erewhon or to even to Whole Foods, even to wherever, right? They're just not. And he does have those options. But you also found out something interesting about the meat when you went to McDonald's,
Yeah,
right? There's
McDonald's-
a different grade of meat.
yeah, there's only 3 fast food restaurants, I believe, that cook in beef tallow. The rest use seed oils, which are highly inflammatory. And it's McDonald's, Five Guys, and I believe In-N-Out Burger. And
Wow.
yeah, and
Beef
so
tallow.
yeah, beef tallow. So they just basically cook in beef fat, which is great.
Yeah.
And McDonald's has, when you buy a franchise, you can pick different grades of meat that you want to serve.
Really?
And you get your choice as a franchise owner of how much money you want to make. Like you go, well, we're going to have this quality of meat or this quality or this quality.
Right.
And they're actually all pretty decent quality compared to what it was back in before, they got hammered for having such gross food. So look, it's not the best food by any means, but it's way better than what it used to be. And I would say eating a McDonald's burger, just the meat, is way better than going into a grocery store and pulling anything from those middle shelves that is full of carbohydrates.
Right. Well, I have a question for you. If the consumer says, well, look, this is what I can afford, and I'm in Podunk City, Oklahoma, where I'm pretty much from, and I don't have any options. I took my kids back to Oklahoma. We went into the grocery store, and they're born and raised in California, and they're looking in the vegetable aisle, and there's only one lettuce, and it's iceberg. There's nothing else. So if I were in Oklahoma and I said, you know what, I can't afford a lot, but maybe I can do this. Is there a way to see which McDonald's is offering? Like,
I don't think so. I learned that from a meat purveyor that sells to McDonald's. A cousin of mine works for a meat company and they sell, and he was telling me they give them their options and they can say what they want. I tell people at grocery stores, as much as you can, stay to that outside aisle.
That's what we say. Yeah, that's what we say. We talk about it. It's so interesting. I mean, it's so interesting that food has that great effect on the way that we, like, even our clarity of mind. Did you feel energetic? Did you feel
look, we cheated a little bit because at the time I was working with a sponsor that was an amino acid company, Amino Co. And so I was taking amino acids at the same time. And this is going to sound weird. I've never felt better.
oh my gosh. This is really fascinating, but it's actually.
I don't want people to go out and do this.
Doing the Eddie Ifft McDonald's diet. No,
but I do believe it's a complete indictment on sugar.
Oh yeah,
that's what it is. I mean, because when you say, and I keep saying without the bun and the sugar sauce, because I mean, McDonald's is made up. Really, what they're getting you at are those, the what do you call those condiments that are on the bun, and the bun is full of sugar. I mean, it's sugar anyway, but then they fill it with full of sugar, and then those sauces are like a salad at McDonald's is a joke anyway, because by the time you put whatever nonsense dressing on it, it's not even food anymore. I don't know what that is. It's a sugar thing. It's bizarre.
Oh, then they've all learned the lesson. All the fast food restaurants have picked up on the trick is to hook them on the bun. So when you go to like a Chick-fil-A, people who get there, and if you told them to take away the bun, they're like, "What's the point of having it?" They want that bun is the drug, and
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
the
It's
inside
cake.
is
You're
yeah.
eating cake.
Yeah, I mean,
There's
no, I think it's hopeful because I think it gives you. I don't know. I like yeah. We're not advocating the McDonald's diet here, but that if you're in a position to where you don't know what to do and you don't have the options, at least that you can. It shows that you can make smart choices within your field of options.
yes.
That's
And
that's the greatest message of all of this
Yeah.
is that people, because people constantly, and I'm sure you get this too, people constantly say to me, well, what do you eat? But I travel so much and I'm on a plane and I'm on this. I mean, I'm crazy with my food. I take it with me.
Yeah.
Like, sorry, not going to eat your crazy food. I'm going to a Comic-Con in a bit, and I'll
yeah,
have a thing, in my suitcase. But that's who I am. But if you're not that person, then at least you have an option. Thank
you know what a
God.
flight is? A flight's a great time to fast.
Yes.
It's
Yes.
a great time to fast. I go to Australia a lot and it's 15 hours and plane food is horrendous,
Oh,
horrific. And
Yeah.
so it's a great time for me to do a 15-hour fast.
Yeah.
And I've done 24 hours. I never really fast more than 24 hours, but 24 hours is pretty easy.
Yeah.
So I get on a plane when people go, oh, what do I do? I got to fly. I'm like, fast.
Yeah.
Fast.
Yeah. I rarely eat on a plane either. I'm saying that I actually take my food so that I don't have to worry about finding a store in the strange little town that I am. I
Yeah.
just, whatever. Or if you find that store, you've got an option for a snack somewhere sometime.
yeah. You don't eat. You eat on the plane. You're like in pretty good shape, and by the end of it, you're like, "Why are my ankles 3 times bigger than they were?" Because you're fast next time. Yeah.
But it is sad. You go into a grocery store, convenience store now, and you look around, and I'd say 90% of it is refined carbohydrates.
Absolutely.
90%. And it's like that's where middle America, most of America is eating. Like they're grabbing stuff, they're on the go.
Yeah.
They're going to places like that. And it's just like there's no options. That's why like this company, Fairlife, will have like sometimes a protein shake in the very rarely, 1 out of every 10 grocery store or convenience stores I go to will have something
That's
like
right.
that. Or, you've got that like little tiny section where they've got like fruit and that's the hardest.
The organic is tiny.
The
Or the-
alternative section.
Or the
Yeah.
crappy beef jerky, and then so I'm always grabbing almonds and
Yeah. Yeah.
a piece of fruit and something like that. But
I know it's astonishing how many airports have not caught on to the
I
fact
know,
that there are
I
some
know.
healthy people out there. Wait, what's my option here? You found the almonds that had nothing on it, and that's actually your only option. Which
That's
is
your only option. They could make more money off those. They could make.
big hit too.
Well, they could make more money off those, and they wouldn't have to charge so much for the airline flight. They could lower the airline flight a couple $100 and make a killing in those stores. They really
I've
could.
eaten more kind bars in airports. It's like the only thing I can find ever. I'm like, oh, I guess I'll have a kind bar, or sometimes the what's the other bar that they'd have with the eggs and the
Oh yeah, 3. It's like just 3 ingredients.
Yeah.
Just 3. It's yeah.
Which used to be a great company until they sold to General Mills, and then they changed the eggs and made them, they're not organic eggs. And
now it tastes like sugar. I
Yeah.
don't know what it is. Now it's like
they put a ton of dates in it now.
Yes.
Yeah, because they want to hook people.
Well, I could talk to you a lot, so you're gonna have to come back because
Anytime, guys.
because we love you. You're
I love
funny,
you too.
and I love your kids, and I'm so glad that he's actually he's the most amazing parent. Really, if I could say anything about you, I love your humor, but I love how you parent your kids.
I didn't feel that way today.
Well, that's only because he didn't. Did he take the hose to the living room?
No, he's been pretty naughty today.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
he's allowed. It's summer.
Lauren has a lemon tree. We just took it outside to get the sun, and he decided to go out and take all the leaves off of it.
He was cleaning it.
Yeah. Yeah. I came
He
out.
gets look, he gets a look on his face
Yep.
that you're like, oh no.
Yep.
It's true. He said it before, and I was like, oh no, there's no way. And then I saw Cruz in action, and he gets a literal devil look on his face.
Dennis the Menace.
Knows exactly what he's doing, and he's like, yeah.
Mhm.
Oh man. Anyway, it's so great to talk to you. Thank you so much for being here. Come
Thanks
back.
for having me, guys. I appreciate it. Anytime.
Yeah, no, it's so great. And don't go away, folks, because you're gonna come back and you're gonna hear an energy tip from Melissa Yamaguchi. You're listening to Out Comes the Sun Radio.
You're listening to Out Comes the Sun Radio with Mariel Hemingway and me, Melissa Yamaguchi. I want to share an energy tip with you today on how to use feng shui, the lessons of feng shui, in dealing with a divorce or separation. So, or even if you have a roommate move out of your home, and in particular, if it's adversarial. So, the first thing you do is in feng shui, you prep the kids or you prep the animals. You make adjustments and changes in the home to get everyone prepared for the new schedule. But some of the remaining 3 tips I want to share with you are really about you taking ownership of your space. And so the very first thing we talk about is to do an intensive clean where you are getting the anger or the sadness or the fear out of your home. And the way you do that is really removing the clutter, removing the photos of the 2 of you. This is always if it's adversarial, and if it's an adversarial break. And in all my years of working with clients, I've only seen maybe 2 or 3 divorces that were really, we no longer work together and now we're going to part ways. So how do we deal with this when there's anger and fear? We do an intensive clean of the place. And I mean, even like swifter dusting the walls if you have to really rid the place, opening up the windows, getting the energy out that's negative energy, especially if you were arguing and fighting towards the end. The next tip I want to give you is to buy new bedding. Mattresses can be expensive, but certainly picking up some new sheets, new comforters, giving yourself a whole new feel to the bed. If you can grab a new mattress, do it. But if not, at the very least, get yourself new bedding so that you are starting that whole scene fresh and clean. And then finally, in feng shui, the southwest area of your home. So if you take your compass, and most of the smartphones have them, you get the compass on there and hold it parallel to the ground and find where southwest is in your home. The southwest corner of your home is the direction of relationships. So I would invite you to remove pictures of you and your ex from that area. Also remove things that can be seen as lonely. So a solo picture of you standing there. We want to create love and harmony in that area. And even if you say, oh, no, I'm not getting in a relationship for another 5 years, that's fine. But don't have things in the southwest area of your home that depict loneliness or solitude. You want to bring in twos of things, 2 doves, 2 hearts, but remove the photos of you and your ex. Now, if you have children, allow the kids to keep photos of them with their other parents, certainly in their room, a time of happiness, because you want your child to feel whole. But around the area, in particular the southwest, remove those photos so that you can clear the energy and start fresh. And that is my feng shui tip for you when it comes to divorce or separation. Stay tuned. Don't leave. Coming up next, Mariel Hemingway will have a great tip for you on balance.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Out Comes the Sun Radio. And I have a tip. Yes, I want to talk to you. So last week I spoke about play, and today I want to talk about laughter, because I was just talking with our good friend Eddie Ifft, who is a comedian, and I have to tell you that laughter literally is the best medicine. And I often post pictures on my Instagram where I'm laughing hysterically. I'm like, my mouth is wider than it should be. And, I love to laugh. I love laughter so much, and it feeds my soul. And it has been the very thing that I think it made me realize that I'd had a lifelong depression until I met Bobby, who makes me laugh all the time. And probably once a day, we literally have to pull over to the side of the road if we're going somewhere so that we can just belly laugh until it's over so we can continue on our way, because he can't possibly drive because we're laughing so hard. And that happens every single day. And that energy of laughter is really the energy that uplifts you and pulls you out of depression. It can change everything. And some people say, well, that's nice, you've got a wonderful partner who makes you laugh, or you've got friends. I'm not. Well, I can tell you there's something that I have tried and I've had people do, and it's fake it till you make it. So do a fake laugh until it's so ridiculous that you can't stop laughing from the ridiculousness of your fake laugh. I know that sounds completely strange, but it's kind of an actor thing. It's what we do in acting to try to get over the stale, stupid feelings that you might have, and just like get through the fakeness until you get to the realness of your laughter. You can do that with tears on feeling bad or whatever when it comes to acting, but you can also do it in your life and just laugh stupidly, fakely, until it actually becomes a real laugh, because you realize how absurd it is to not be laughing. And, some people have said, I say some people as though I know those people, but you will hear, it's easier to smile than it is to frown. There's more muscles used in frowning than there are in smiling. So just know that when you smile, your body is lit up, and that even smiling when you don't feel like smiling will shift the energy inside of you, so that the energy will shift, and it can often turn a dark mood into a light mood. Now, am I talking about serious depression or serious mental illness? No. But I am talking about if you find yourself stuck in a place, make yourself smile, make yourself fake laugh until the absurdity of that turns into genuine laughter, genuine joy, and genuine ability to go, well, maybe this is just silly. I need to just lighten up, So that's my tip of the day.
What your tip made me think of? Can I tell you, the minute you said it, I started smiling, because what it made me think of? Uncle Albert in Mary Poppins. Maybe ha ha ha, and the more he laughed, his chair lifted up to the ceiling.
Yes.
And I mean, that laugh seemed so silly, but you remember he just lifted himself up, and that's the instant image I got.
No, and the funny thing about that is it was fake. And he was admittedly fake until it wasn't. Yes. Right. And that's what sometimes you have to push through what's uncomfortable to get to what's joyful. So I think that's what I meant. I don't know.
I love it. I'm going to he my way all day.
Is it he?
Oh, what a great show.
Oh, yeah. So great. Well, thank you, everybody, for listening. We love having you here every single day. And don't forget to check out MarielHemingwayFoundation.org. It is the foundation for mental health that Melissa and I have started to become a resource navigator. And with your help, if you go to the site and you see where you can donate, you can help us become that resource navigator so that we can give people solutions for mental health, whether they be holistic or psychiatric or whatever. The list is long, whether it's for addiction or whatever it is. We will be able to direct you towards what you need. So thank you so much, everybody, and we'll see you again soon.
Out Comes the Sun has been a production of Evolve Entertainment. Hosts Mariel Hemingway and Melissa Yamaguchi. Executive producer Jeremiah Higgins. And sound engineer and producer Richard Dr. D. Dugan. Thank you for listening.